So this is part 2 of my Japan trip, and this one's going to be a shorter video compared to part 1. We kind of decided to visit 1 or 2 destinations max for one day, as the amount of walking that we did increased by quite a lot compared to the Tokyo part of the trip. And maybe it is because of this that week 2 felt like it went by way quicker than week 1. By the way, I really like Kyoto and Osaka, and so let's get straight into it. Before actually getting on the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Kyoto, we did do a bit of shopping in the underground souvenir shopping street under Tokyo Station, and this is where I got the stickers that I've shown on stream that one time. And just like any station in Tokyo, it was super busy, not to mention that it was on a Sunday and people in Japan were starting their summer holidays as well. I tried out the spicy chicken burger at McDonald's, and it tasted exactly the same as the spicy fried chicken that you can normally get at convenience stores in Japan. I mean, I don't know what I was really expecting, but moving on. The Shinkansen arrived after waiting for 5 minutes, and it arrived ahead of its scheduled arrival time. We all got super excited as it was the first time seeing one of these for all 5 of us. I'm not sure whether I've been on one before, maybe I have when I went to Japan as a child with my family, but I don't remember anymore, so I'll treat this as my first time on a bullet train. Inside, the seats were decently spacious for a standard ticket, and it was not as shaky as what you guys are hearing. The cushioning was relatively comfortable for some reason, and after exploring the train a bit, I went back to my seat and fell asleep almost immediately. By the time I woke up, we were already about to arrive at Kyoto, even though we all had different seats. Apparently all the others slept through most of the journey just like me, and unfortunately this is how my first time on a Shinkansen ended. We got to Kyoto around 3 p.m. and we were so tired, so we decided to chill a bit at our new Airbnb before heading out for dinner. We did some more gacha in between. I got this because I thought it was some yandere gacha thing, and we had teppanyaki for dinner. This meal was over in less than 30 minutes, and by the time that it was 9 p.m, everyone was already half asleep on their bed scrolling or just dozing off. When you think about Kyoto, what comes to your mind first? The Shinto and Buddhist temples, bamboo forest, or the traditional shopping streets? Because Kyoto is not that big of a city, we went to all of the must-go places in Kyoto over the 3 full days that we were there, and on day 8, we chose to go to Kiyomizu-dera. And while we were there, we also went to the 2 shopping streets that lead up to the temple. We did, however, arrive a bit later than we wanted, and it felt like the whole area or district from the start of the shopping street to the main temple area was just completely filled with people, and I even got separated from the group. To be fair, it was kind of a skill issue on my part as I was too focused on recording, and so losing sight of my friends was bound to happen sooner or later that day. Anyway, the view was already top tier for me once we had reached the end of the shopping street. There's 2 main shopping streets that you can choose, and both of them lead directly to the entrance of the temple. Kiyomizu-zaka is the straight street which is directly in front of the temple's entrance, and Chawan-zaka is the one which snakes around a little bit and leads up to the side of the entrance instead. Sannen-zaka is also another viable street for getting to the temple, but this one involves going through the car park of the temple to reach the entrance itself, and so it is a tiny bit further away in this sense. But to be honest, if you want to avoid the crowd of the shopping streets and just go to the temple, then Sannen-zaka is recommended. Once you're through the entrance of the temple, people tend to stay around in the first main temple area for photo taking, and this is also where the hanging veranda is. So if you just keep on walking for 1 or 2 more minutes, you'll reach the other veranda area on the other side of the hill, and there should be slightly fewer people there. At least that's what it was for me. I got a omamori, which was for good health for my grandma, back at the main area after I had recorded things, and after that I made my way to the garden area which was below and had a stroll there. It was much quieter down there, and low-key you could take your time and actually go to one of those cafes inside the temple to relax and refresh yourself. But for me, I wanted to meet up with my friends as soon as possible, as my phone was not getting much signal and I was starting to worry. For you guys, if you can make it to the temple around 6 or 7 a.m, then this is probably the best time period for you to come, as you will probably only see a handful of people there. You could come here even early to see the sunrise if you want to as well. The exit of the garden was right in front of Chawan-zaka, and so I decided to go down the shopping street, hoping to get lucky and bump into my friends while getting myself an ice cream, as it was 30 degrees Celsius for the majority of day 8. We went to city center to explore a bit, and we found ourselves trapped inside of this crowd because of the Gion festival for almost 2 hours. I mean, I wouldn't mind this festival at all if it was planned, but this time we were completely unaware of this whole festival. So yeah, next time if I ever get the chance to visit Kyoto again, I would definitely try and go to at least one of the events, just not when it is the busiest though. Fushimi Inari Taisha is without doubt one of the most well-known Shinto shrines in Japan. Established over 1,300 years ago, today it receives over 10 million visitors per year, and you might be wondering, what makes this shrine special? Well, here you can find more than 10,000 torii gates, which are lined up along the 2 routes that lead to the top of the mountain on which this shrine is located. To reach the top, you'll need to do at least 12,000 steps, and this is why we decided to sleep early the night before so that we have enough energy to complete this in the morning. Last year, I came here with my family and I didn't make it all the way up to the top, and so it was great to finally do so. That time I reached a middle point in the mountain called Yotsuji, which literally means crossroad. The view is also amazing as you can see the rest of Kyoto city with no obstructions. You can also find a few shops and cafes with seats here, and it's like a checkpoint where people rest. And here you can choose which one out of the two routes you want to take to go to the top of the mountain. And on the screen right now you should see a comparison between the view here last year and this year. But that's not the main scenery that we came here for. Instead, it is the absolutely beautiful scenery deep inside the mountain that made us want to come here no matter what. The Torii Gate stone stretch all the way to the top, and so there are areas scattered along the two routes with countless altars called kamidana. Each kamidana enshrines one Shinto deity known as kami, and so yeah, it was pretty astonishing to see so many at once. Once you reach the top, you'll find where the deity Suehiro or Kami is worshipped. To be honest, while it was tiring, it did not take us that long to reach the top and make it back to the entrance. The whole thing lasted around an hour and a half max, and when we got back to Yotsuji, maybe I was too tired to think properly, but I bought an ice cream and my stupid ass decided to mess with one of my friends, so naturally, as a consequence, I dropped the whole ice cream uneaten on the floor, and after cleaning up the mess like an idiot, we went back to our Airbnb to take a shower and rested until noon. Okay, next up is Arashiyama. Famous for its traditional buildings and streets, tranquil atmosphere, and of course its bamboo forest, this area has been a popular tourist area for many centuries. Even aristocrats back in the Heian period were deeply attracted by the natural scenery of Arashiyama and the surrounding area of Sagano, and I 100% understand them. While the main bamboo route is filled with people most of the time, there are also many branches or smaller routes that also run through the forest. And while you're in the area, another relaxing spot is the riverside close to Togetsukyo. There are many souvenir shops and cafes which sell local green tea and other local specialities, and they're all conveniently located along the main road, so after getting your souvenir, just sit down here by the riverside and enjoy the scenery. Day 10 was the day that we were going to Osaka, but we planned to go there in the afternoon, and so before we checked out of our Airbnb, we had a few hours in the morning to do some final sightseeing around Kyoto. So me and one of my friends decided to go to Nijo Castle, which was located in the heart of Kyoto city. Built in 1603, the castle served as the residence for the shoguns of the Tokugawa shogunate. And inside the castle's premise, the Ninomaru Palace in the outer ward of the castle was also where the ceremony of returning the governmental authority to the Emperor of Japan happened, and this is known as Taisei Hokan in Japanese. The room in which this happened can still be found inside Ninomaru Palace, but unfortunately it was prohibited to take photos or videos inside, and this was the case in the main castle as well. At the site of the ruin of the Tenshukaku, you can find a small observatory area which allows you to view the area inside Nijo Castle slightly higher than ground level. In the background, you can sometimes see the tops of buildings appearing between the gaps of the passes as well, and the view here definitely makes up for not being able to take photos inside. In the garden, there are also cherry blossom trees planted, so you might see them bloom around late March to early April if you come here around that time, and it should look something like this on the screen. After that, the journey to our Airbnb in Osaka was way longer than expected. Like, we left at 3:30, but we arrived at our Airbnb at almost 5 in the evening. I mean, later that night we did go to Shinsaibashi in central Osaka and also had dinner there, but we still decided to call it a day earlier than usual so that we could let our stamina recover from all the walking that we've done in the past few days. And then came the busiest day for the Osaka part of the trip. While we had only planned things to do up until the afternoon, the day still started early as me and one of my friends wanted to go to Kuromo Market. Similar to Nishiki Market in Kyoto, which we completely forgot to go to, the shops in this market also mainly sell seafood, fresh meat, and other produce. Some streets of Kuromo Market are more like the usual shopping streets in Japan, and so you could also do some shopping at the drugstores there too. For breakfast, we had some fresh tuna sashimi and some oysters, and low-key I was surprised that my stomach was strong enough to handle all the seafood this early in the morning, but my friend seemed completely fine and wasn't scared at all. And after all of that, we were about to do some gacha once again. This time we're getting Genshin character acrylic keychains, and my luck finally showed up in this trip.
I want this or this. Okay, here we go. Is it out?
Yeah, sir. What is that? That was that gross meat though.
I got Yulo. Round 2 for Cyrus. Okay. Manifesting these 3, these 2, this one, and this one. Oh, these 2 as well, I guess.
Nah, fuck no.
Wait, what about Kazuha?
Hell no.
You don't want Kazuha? No. Alright, I'm gonna do it. 3, 2, 1. Oh, red ball. Wait, you can't even see. You can't even see through it. Open it. Let's see.
The W in the chat, bro. W in the chat.
You can tell just how happy I was from all the shaking of the camera, and to be honest, it did feel like winning a 50-50 in the game. Then we went to Osaka Castle because it was only a few stations away by train from Kuromo Market. Now, compared to Nijo Castle, which we went to the day before, this one was definitely on a completely different scale in terms of size. Yes, while there's only one main castle inside the walls, the overall area is much bigger and there are also more floors inside the main castle. The castle that we see today is in fact reconstructed, as it was basically burned down to nothing in the last days of the siege of Osaka during the Boshin War. Inside the main castle, each floor contains exhibitions of items related to the Boshin War, explaining how this history unfolded here in Osaka. Sadly, it is prohibited to take photos or videos on the floors with the most exhibited weapons and armory pieces used in the war, so I only got footage of the other floors. At the highest floor is an observatory / balcony area, which gives you a 360 degrees view of Osaka city from within the castle. Even though there are nets surrounding the balcony designed to catch dropped objects, it can still get a bit windy up there, so hold on to your phone tight and don't be like me as I almost dropped my phone while recording this. As for the garden, because of how big it is, we didn't really walk through the garden thoroughly, but the outer garden, which is on the other side of the moat, is open to the public 24/7, and so it's a pretty good place to go on a walk. Finally, just before it started getting dark, we arrived at our last destination of the day, Shinsekai District. This place is seen in many other Osaka vlog videos that I watched when planning this part of the trip, and this was especially the case for the tower in the middle of the district, which also serves as a landmark of Osaka. There's this amusement park vibe here, and this kind of makes sense as the area around Zutenkaku Tower used to be an amusement park more than 100 years ago. Here you can find many izakayas, cheap clothing stores, and also small locally run cinemas, making this place quite popular among local people as well. Though if you're interested in places in Osaka where there's more of a balance between local people and tourists, this is definitely one of those places to go. The only destination for the next day was Nara. This city is known for its Buddhist temples and of course the absolutely crazy amount of deers that can be found only a few minutes away from the main station. And while these deers are wild animals, they are very used to human presence and they would approach rather proactively if you were holding deer crackers, or shikasenbei in Japanese. They are basically snacks that you can use to feed deers, and they are sold at several food stands around the open park areas in front of Kofukuji and Todaiji. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, I went here with my family once, and low-key I think I must have had some sort of traumatic experience with these deers. I don't know why, but when I tried to feed just one deer a cracker, it was as if that deer called on all his family and friends and I almost got surrounded. No joke, I started to panic and I ran away immediately, and it was definitely the most embarrassing moment of this trip. The boys were completely fine with the deers though, and after feeding the deers we then discussed whether we want to go to Kofukuji and Todaiji or not. Even though it was literally down the road from where we were, in the end we decided not to go because to be honest we were just lazy and we didn't want to walk no more. So instead we went back to the station and explored the shopping streets there. I feel like Nara would be a great city to go on your own, not plan anything in particular and just enjoy the deers if you're fine with them, and also the temples that are in the city. It's a pretty chill place, and I can see why many people from Osaka come here on day trips, as it is only a half-an-hour train journey from just any of the major stations in Osaka. As for day 13 and 14, I'm just going to put the 2 days together as I didn't record much and I was just enjoying my last 2 days in Japan. I went to Nipponbashi during the morning of day 13 and got these Nikkei cards and also this Nilu acrylic keychain, and in the evening I had yakiniku for dinner, sort of as a biggish meal to end this trip on. And then for the morning of day 14, we went to the beach at Rinku Town and also the outlet that was there too. The thing is that the beach is literally on the other side of the shore of Kansai International Airport, which is the airport that we're going to the next day. The airport is an artificial island off the coast of Rinku Town and is connected to the mainland by this bridge that you guys are seeing on the screen. The weather was super nice on this day, and along with the absolutely stunning view of the blue sea, it really did feel like everything was set up so that the trip would end on a fantastic note. And I think at this point of the video, I can once again just say thank you to the 4 of you who came on this trip with me. If there's one thing that I regret about this trip, then it'd probably be the fact that it would have been even better if we had taken more photos or videos during the 2 weeks that we were there. I mean, I've used over 700 photos and clips combined when making the series, but it's never too much. And that concludes this Japan vlog series. It's taken me almost a whole month of editing to get this series completed, but I enjoyed every single second of the process. It's just that after watching all the clips and going through all the photos, a lot of things definitely happened during those 2 weeks in Japan. If you were to ask me what my favorite part of the trip was, it would probably be the moment that I got out of the station at Enoshima when we just got there for the day trip. That really left an impression on me. It was weirdly silent even though it was raining super hard when I was holding my umbrella and recording the clip that is on the screen right now. But to be fair, it still would have been great if it was sunny on that day. And what about the 4 of you? Which part of the trip is your favorite? Anyway, thanks for watching this series, and if you enjoyed it, please like and also subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next year. Bye!